Daily Dell. Welcome back to my YouTube video. Today I am doing my first mukbang. I really don't know how you say that word, but that's what we're doing today. I am going to be eating a meal prepared by Mama Martin's Kitchen, i.e. my mom, and it's a nice healthy meal. Also, I'm going to be discussing living with parents / multi-generational living. For those of you who are new here, you might not know, but I do live in a multi-generational home. I don't live with both my parents. I live with my mom. My dad is in Guyana right now. I'll get into that in a bit. And I live with my sister and my son, who is 3. So I want to touch on that. But before I do anything, all my Instagram links, Facebook links, everything are down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. But let's go ahead and get into it. Now, I don't know if you're supposed to be able to see the food in a mukbang, but this is a lovely meal. It's stewed beef, quinoa, spinach, and this is my only meal for the day. Right now I'm fasting and I'm cleansing. I haven't been taking my cleanse pills every single day because some days are just really hectic, and when I'm gonna have a hectic day, I don't want to take it because those pills are no joke. And for those of you wondering, it's the Dr. Tobias colon cleanse pills. Those pills are no joke. But you know, I didn't take it last night because I knew today was gonna be a busy day. So I think I'm going to take it tonight, and they cleanse you like crazy. But anyways, let's get into the topic. So I wanted to discuss living with parents and multi-generational living because honestly in the States, it's kind of like a taboo topic. Like, this food is so good. But yeah, and it's hard to do a mukbang, right? It looks easy on camera, but it's hard because you don't want to look sloppy when you're eating. But you don't want to be quiet for like extra long. It's just, this is going to be tough. But anyways, like I was saying, in the US, living with parents is kind of like taboo. You know, like when you're 18, you're expected to move out the house, be independent, have your ducks in a row, just know how to do life, and nobody is really like willing to help you like that. And I'm generalizing because I know there are always exceptions to the rule, but by and large, the culture in the States is very much like you hit 18, you move out, you're on your own, and that's it. But if you're not living on your own, then it's kind of like, it's assumed that you either lack ambition, you're broke, you're lazy, whatever the case may be, or I don't know, maybe your family's very controlling or something. I don't know. But that's just kind of like what I've experienced. Whereas like in most other parts of the world, multi-generational living is very common. Like, it's not abnormal for a grown person to live with their family. When you look throughout the Caribbean, England, you know, I'm not really sure. Maybe my British fam can tell me, but I feel like if you have foreign roots and you live in England, then it's a little bit different. But maybe if you're like British, I don't know. Maybe it's like the States. But nevertheless, in other parts of the world, it's very common. And the reality of the situation is a lot of people do live with their parents. You know, they might not say it. And that's something that I run into a lot. Like, even when I'm dating guys or just like meeting new people, when I'm very forthcoming about the fact that I live with family, it's almost like a weight is taken off of people's shoulders. Like, oh my gosh, you too? So do I. This, that, the third. Like, you know, because it's like this facade of like, you gotta put on like, I got this, I got that. And don't get me wrong, I have lived on my own, you know? And a big part of that was because, like I said, societal pressures of like, if you don't live on your own, then who's gonna wanna be with you? You're not getting it. You're not independent. You're not, you know, getting the bag if you live with family. And mind you, when I lived with my family, I was working in the government for a couple of years before I moved out. And I was making good money, okay? As a student, I was making like $30K. And I was on a part-time schedule. So, you know, when I graduated, after like, let's see, I graduated 2010, February 2012. So not even 2 years later, I moved out and got my own place. By then, I was making like in the 50s, you know, because I was thankfully in the career ladder, but that's a whole nother story for those who might not understand government pay scales. But I was getting that raise every year, that grade jump every year, you know. So I was like, well, I know for a fact that I can afford it now, so let me just go ahead and move out. So I moved out, and don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it. Like, there's definitely pros to it, you know. The thing that I love about living on my own, and if I seem like I'm all over the place, this is just a conversation. Like, this is not scripted, nothing. But the thing I love about living on my own is the freedom, and not freedom to just wild out, because trust me, I don't have my days of that. Y'all will hear some more story times pertaining to those things, but because that's not good for you at the end of the day. Like, you know, just ripping and running with all these different people, all these people that claim they're your friends, spending your money, doing reckless stuff, like, that's just stupid, you know. And obviously when you live on your own, you have more freedom to do that. But I love the fact that, like, I could do what I wanted to do, and I have to make sure that my schedule, like, was available in case someone else needed something to do, you know, like. And then, you know, life demands were different. My parents weren't as sick, you know. My dad was still working at the time. This was right before he was kind of like forced into retirement, so, you know, there was less pressure to, like, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that, you know. And I'm not saying like my family put unreasonable pressure on me, you know, because I could have stayed on my own, but I decided to move home because I was dealing with a lot of stress. At work. And by the time I decided to move home, I was a GS-13. And I was making bank. Okay, I was like 26 in a GS-13. But I was so miserable at my job. And I've seen this thing come up over and over and over in the past few days on Instagram. It's like, you could be making money, you could be, you know, living the quote-unquote life, but you could be so miserable. And that was me. It's like, I had the government job, I had my own place, I had the new cars, I had all of that, but I was so miserable because I didn't want to do what I was doing for a career, but I felt stuck because I lived on my own. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to upkeep the image. So now I'm working a job that I hate. Like, and not just average hate. I mean, like, literally this job was triggering my anxiety. Like, it was giving me, you know, panic attacks, and I was crying every day going to work and stuff like that. I barely wanted to eat, but at the same time, when I did eat, I was blowing up, you know. I keep looking in this viewfinder, but I was blowing up, and I was almost 300 pounds, like, right before I decided to leave. I didn't look it, but trust me, your girl was big. And I'm tall, so I mean, it's a little different. I'm 5'11", but still, I was very unhealthy. I was diabetic, all sorts of stuff, you know? And so, food falling out my mouth, that wasn't like, my bad, y'all. But yeah, so, needless to say, if I was living at home, I feel like a lot of that stuff wouldn't have escalated to where it was. And I'm not saying like, oh, if you move out, you're going to be depressed and have panic attacks. I had struggled with anxiety for years before. I just didn't really know what it was, because back then, people weren't talking about things that they struggled with, like emotional and mental disorders. You know, it wasn't the thing back in the early 2000s and stuff. It was just kind of like, yeah, keep your head up, you know, you got it. You'll be okay. But in the 90s and early 2000s, I should say, and even before that. But as time went on, it was like, okay, yeah, this is something that you definitely have to deal with. So, you know, that's why I feel like one of the pros of living at home is, it's like, granted, if you have a supportive family, not in a toxic environment, and I'm blessed to have a supportive family, but like I said, culturally around the world, that's the thing. It's like, you don't move out until you get married, or maybe you have a career that takes you out of the immediate area where your family is. So you move, or you get, like I said, you get married, or maybe you get a house, like you build a house, because people don't really buy homes like that. Like now that's a thing, but people usually own land and build a home. So if it's not one of those reasons, you're staying with your parents. I remember the first time I told my mom I wanted to move out, because my first attempt was 2010, you know, because I was like, yeah, you know, I just graduated college. Like I said, I went from making $30K to permanent government. So I went from $30K to like $45,000 overnight, basically, you know. And I was like, yeah, I can live on my own, because things were still pretty cheap, and I was going to move to Northeast DC, like not far off of 8th Street. When it was like still kind of the hood, but it was like in the midst of gentrification. I was like, yeah, I can move here. The apartment was nice, I'm not gonna lie. Now I don't know if it was infested with any roaches or rats, but from the tour it looked really nice. It wasn't like new, like I prefer modern fixtures. It was older fixtures, but it was a nice space. It was 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, huge kitchen. I could put a little table in it, still had a dining room, living room, and it was like $7.98 a month. I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna take it, like, come on now. But like I said, I was near the track. Like, the track was like around the corner. So I told my mom, and she was just like, why would you want to do that? Why are you moving out? How have I failed you? She started crying. And for those of you who know my mom, she's not a crier. Like, my mom is a tough cookie. I've seen her cry maybe less than 5 times in my life. Like I could count on one hand and not even use on my fingers of the times that I've seen her cry. And that was one of them. She was sitting on my bed. She was like, how have I failed you, this, that, that. And I'm just like, you know, I just feel like it's time, because society says if you don't live on your own, then you're a failure. And so she came with me looking at the apartments and stuff, and she wasn't feeling the neighborhood, but I was like, it's up and coming. This is the time to get in. And now the neighborhood is expensive. Like, I couldn't afford to rent a place there, but she was like, okay. And she was actually supporting me after some time, but then I think the apartment complex tried to rob me of my money. Like, they told me it was 1 month's deposit, and then they called me back and they were like, oh, you gotta pay twice as much or something like that. And I was like, nah, I'm good. Like, I'm not gonna bother, and they didn't even give me all my money back. So needless to say, I stayed home. That was 2010, and then I moved in February. Had my own place. By then my mom was already warmed up to it because of like almost 2 years prior. So she came with me, helped me find my furniture and stuff like that. All was well. Let me get a sip of water because the thirst is real. So all was well. Just healthy. I feel so healthy right now. Like, I'm about to be slim in shape. Y'all better watch out, because when I lose this weight, I ain't gonna be as humble. Like, no, I'll still be humble. I'm just a humble person. But nevertheless, you know, living on my own, those are the pros to me. The biggest pro is like the freedom that you have to be able to say like, okay, well, I wash dishes. I come home, the dishes are still washed. You know, I can eat what I want to eat. I can lay in the house and do what I want to do. I can plan my day and I don't have to consult with anybody. And especially being single, when I first moved on my own, I was single. Then I got in a long-term relationship. He ended up moving in, but it was chill. Like, we were just like each other's best friends. And to this day, we're still cool. We actually were engaged and all that, but we're still cool to this day. Like, so that lets you know that when we were together, it must have been even better. Like, we were just chilling. We had a lot of good times. It wasn't too bad. I mean, we had our issues, but you know, then we broke up and he moved out, and then, you know, I was back on my own, so it was cool. But I didn't like the pressure, like I said, being a slave to a job that I absolutely hated, that was causing so much stress in my life, because I lived on my own and I had to maintain that, plus the cars and all that extra stuff, you know. And then one thing about living on your own, you have a lot of friends when you live on your own, okay? You have a lot of friends. Everybody's your friend. Everybody want to come over, kick it, hang out, do this, do that. The minute I said I was moving back home, it's like everybody just ran for the hills. They were like, okay, bye, you know, like, not answering the phone no more, don't want to hang out, because now they can't just come in your house and eat up your food and chill with you and do all this extra stuff, you know. And I was younger then. Now if I live on my own, which that is something I'm working towards, I'm going to talk about that in a bit, then people wouldn't just be coming in and out of my life like that, you know. But needless to say, I'm going to give you guys some tips on how to deal with living with parents, okay? So for those of you who live with your parents, or you're thinking like, maybe I should move back home to save money, keep it to yourself. Like, don't tell people, because, and you guys know, I talk about moving in silence a lot, because people are going to make you feel bad, for one, especially once you're past a certain age. They're going to kind of like try to shun you and talk down about you and make it seem like, oh, well, you're just irresponsible, that's why you got to move back home, and this, that, third. Keep it to yourself until it's like set in stone, till you know for sure what it's going to be, and only tell people if they need to know. Like, if there are people that know you, they're going to like be coming to your house for reasons or whatever, yeah, let them know. But don't tell every time Dick and Harry until you are good and ready. And don't beat yourself up either. Don't feel like you're a failure because you decided to move back home or you still live at home. You know, if you're actually doing something with your life and you're actually trying to make strides, you're not a failure. Now, living at home and doing that and living at home and doing nothing are totally two different things. Because I do know people that live at home and they are legit like lazy. Like, they don't want to do anything. They have no goals. They have no ambition. And that's another story. But I do know people like myself who are living at home, but they have an end goal in sight. It's not like, well, this is it, I'm just going to stay here. It's like, no, I actually want more for myself. I actually want to do things. I just want to do it the right way and not do it based on society's timeline. You know, also, if you're going to move back in with parents or guardians or anything like that, make sure that you discuss rules, because at the end of the day, you are grown, and hopefully they're not controlling or overbearing, because that is something that I hear a lot from people. Like, I would love to move back home, but I can't because me and my parents in one house is not going to mix. So they're going to be trying to treat me like I'm a kid. We're going to be bumping heads over every little thing. So if that's something that you want to do, or like honestly you need to do it for financial reasons, but you're like, dang, like my parents gonna be riding my behind, you know, talk with them and see if you can level with them. You know, just be like, look, I'm staying here because I need to get on my feet, or I'm here for now, but you know, this isn't going to be forever. But while I am here, just please respect my adulthood. Please respect my space and my, you know, my decisions and things like that. And especially if you're moving like with a child or children or a spouse or a family of any sort, you have to discuss those rules because they're your parents, and parents, I swear, like, they could raise you to be the best person on earth and they'll still want to tell you how to live your life. It's like, you've already raised me. The foundation is there. You can relax. You know, I'm not going to do everything how you might do it, but you didn't raise a fool. Like, relax, you know. And I deal with that with my mom sometimes, you know, and there's many days still where I reminisce on my old life and I'm just like, man, I would really love to have my own spot right now. You know, because I am in a different predicament now. I don't only live at home, but like my dad's not here. Like I said, he got really sick in 2014, almost died. And we tried to get help for him here, like get him in a nursing home and all that. And they were like, nope, you guys are living with him, so we're not going to give it to you. And they barely want to give him all of his disability. So we sent him back to Guyana and he's doing way better there. My mom is here. And now, you know, her health is not as good as it used to be and stuff. So now I'm in a position where a lot more is riding on me. So it's not like I'm just home and I can still chill. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still get my freedom, but I'm home and there's a lot of responsibility. Plus, I'm a mother, a single mother, and my son's father is not involved at all. And that'll be another story time for another day. But, you know, I have full 100% responsibility of my son 100% of the time. You know, then I'm the only person in my house that can drive right now. And, you know, I'm the one that has to take everybody where they have to go. Everything falls on me. And then, of course, my son can't drive. But, you know, I have battled with that. With feeling insecure because it's like, who would want to be with me? Who would want to hang with me? I live at home. As soon as you say that, people just kind of look at you funny. For my age, I'm not married. I don't have the house yet. You know, I don't have this, that, the third. So it really has been a battle. And it really has been a journey, you know. But I had to come to realize that, like, the people that matter and really care about me living at home, me living on my own, it doesn't matter. Like, they're still going to be there for me. It doesn't matter where I live, who I live with. They're going to be there for me. And I'm not any less of a person because I still live with family, you know? So for those of you out there who are thinking about it and you might be battling with that, that's what I would tell you. Like, keep it to yourself and discuss with your parents. Those are my top 2 tips. Keep it to yourself until you are ready and secure enough in your decision and your lifestyle to share with people and not be, like, bothered by what they have to say. And also, like I said, discuss with your parents because you really want to make sure that you guys are on the same foot. My parents, thankfully, are like more chill, but I have had to like kind of earn my way here. There's been many conversations, some arguments with my mom, nothing volatile, but you know, where it's just like, Mom, like, I'm a grown woman. I'm in my 30s. I'm a whole mother. Like, relax. You know, you raised me okay. You don't have to be spazzing out. You know, I'm not finna do anything too stupid. I will make dumb mistakes because that's just human nature, but I'm not gonna do anything too stupid. Been there, done that, learned my lesson, you know, bought the t-shirt. So that's what I'm telling y'all. Like, just talk with your parents because a lot of times we think that they won't understand, but they do. And sometimes they just have to see you walking it out, you know. They don't understand all that you have learned, all that you know, the wisdom that you have. So sometimes they just need to see you walking it out. Another tip I would have a timeline, you know. Have a timeline for when you want to move out and work towards it. For me, I don't want to move out again until I either am buying a house or renting to own. I don't want to just be in a rental situation with no end in sight because you waste a lot of money with that. I think for me, more than likely, buying a house is going to come through renting to own. So that's my plan, you know, and I have my timeline. I have all the details written out, all of that, and I'm praying on it and I'm working towards it to the best of my ability. So figure out what exactly you want to do and why you're moving back home or why you're still at home and what's your timeline, you know, and how do you want to move out. If you're cool with renting, that's fine. If you want to buy a house, then you need to be stacking up your money, you know, and that's another thing. When you're living at home, see it as an opportunity to save and actually save because you're not paying rent. You're not paying, you know, all the bills. You might be giving your parents or your guardian or whatever, like a little small piece every month or a portion of the bills, but you're not paying everything. So actually use that time wisely. Don't just be going out, turning up at the club, buying bottles, buying fancy clothes, going here, going there, you know. Not if you have plans to move out, you know. It's not worth it. Save your money, stack your money up. the money that you would use to eat out, and I'm talking to myself just as much as y'all. Y'all know I never come here like wag my finger like, oh, y'all need to be stepping your game up. Trust me, I'm a work in progress, okay? And it's hard when you're used to just spending money, just going out. You know, the thing that's helped me over the years too is freelancing, because I moved back home, but I also left the government, like I said, and I started freelancing. And so when the money isn't coming as a certain amount every 2 weeks, it makes you stop and say, you know what, let me not spend that, because for me to make it back, I'm gonna have to go and do XYZ for so many hours or whatever. Like, it makes you think twice. And I've come a long way, but I still got a ways to go. So, you know, I'm really trying to stack my bread for real, and level up in that way. But definitely save your money. So those would be my top 3 tips. Keep it to yourself. Talk with your parents about rules and how daily life will look, and stack your money. You know, those are the pros. The cons, like I said, if you're in a toxic environment, your family's toxic, don't do it. You know, if it's a dangerous environment, don't do it. If they're not understanding it, you know for a fact it's just going to be arguing and bitterness and anger and all that every day, don't do it. You know, like, have common sense. Only you know your situation, but definitely, like, make sure you weigh the pros and cons. Also, another con I would say is make sure if your family is like moochers. So if you're making a lot of money, but you know, moving home, they're going to be asking you to pay for this, that, the third, like just with their hand out all the time, don't do it. Because at the end of the day, you got to live your life. I'm all for group economics, but some people take advantage of that and they don't let you like live your life and make decisions. And then if you don't give them, then it's like, oh, you know, you change, you this, you that, you owe me this, that, the third. Like, make sure that it's not going to be a situation like that either. Now, the pros of living on your own and how to live on your own, I'll probably make another video on that, because I don't want this video to be like crazy long. But I'll probably make a video about tips I've learned. But, or lessons I learned, I should say. But I would say another pro of living on my own was, besides just getting to do what I want, it was really like learning how to boss up. You know, because when everything falls on your shoulders, you gotta do it. Like, there is no, oh, can you cover this bill and I'll pay you back, or this or that. I mean, some people might have that, but for the most part, it's like, nah, like, the rent's due, it's coming in your name. You know, light bills due, it's coming in your name. You gotta find a way to do it. So it makes you be more responsible. It makes you really understand the value of a dollar firsthand, you know, in an intimate way. So that's why I would say, if you're gonna live on your own, start saving now if you don't already. And if you do live on your own and you haven't learned yet, trust me, you'll learn real soon. And it'll make you want to level up and boss up. So, you know, if you're living with parents, stay in there. Don't, you know, stay fighting the good fight. Don't feel like you're any less of a person. You know, don't let society beat you into it, because most other places in the world, that's the norm. Like I said, you're not moving until you're married or anything like that. But I think the biggest misunderstanding when it comes to living with family, I done finished my meal and I am full, okay? But when you fast, your stomach gets so small, I swear, you know, just your appetite. But, you know, I think the biggest thing is just misunderstandings, not giving each other room to be adults and to make decisions. And like I said, no matter how you slice it or dice it, if you have parents that care, they're gonna give you their unsolicited advice at times. They're gonna be overbearing at times. But if you can understand that this is just temporary and you can focus, then it's worth it. I would really suggest that you move home and don't struggle, you know, ruining your credit score, going broke, living off overdraft, and you have the opportunity to go home. Because if my parents didn't give me that opportunity, Lord knows where I would be right now. Because your girl was gone, okay? When it comes to dealing with depression and anxiety and stuff, I keep looking out the window because I try to open the window to get the natural daylight. It's getting dark. I can't wait till summertime because these short days are just not working for me. But nevertheless, that's the video I had. I'm all done with my mukbang. I am about to go freelance, okay? The grind don't stop. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you guys want me to go in depth on anything that I mentioned or to talk more about it, leave a comment down below. Let me know if you live with parents, if you are considering living with parents, or if you've been there, done that, and you're good to go. But let's chat in the comment section, and I will see you guys later. Bye.